Batman's plot armor is so powerful that he even managed to beat death itself, because in the final act of Batman Endgame, it genuinely seemed like he died and like the city of Gotham would actually have to move on without him. But somehow, some way, we find him volunteering at a local rec center trying to help kids recover from the trauma caused by the Joker. And thanks to a new love interest working by his side known as Julie Madison, it genuinely seemed like Bruce was happy for the first time in a long time. But let's stop avoiding the elephant in the room, because I'm sure you guys are asking how this was even possible. Well, this version of Bruce isn't exactly the Bruce we all know and love, and we know that because eventually our story shifts things over to Alfred and Clark Kent leaving the facility Bruce was volunteering at, with Clark feeling like he just lost his best friend, expressing that even though he could see Bruce, he just didn't seem like the person he used to know, before asking Alfred if he could explain what happened to him. So they drove back to the Batcave, where Alfred started from the night Bruce's body was discovered by his daughter Julia, stating that he was on his way to go pick up his body when something truly impossible happened. As his daughter Julia was zipping him up in a body bag, somehow he just woke up like nothing ever happened. And it was all because of Dionysium, the same compound that gave Joker a crazy healing factor during his last big scheme. At one point or another, as the caves were falling apart, some of the Dionysium seeped into his broken skull and healed him even though he had already been dead for a few hours at that point. But in doing so, it brought him back a new person who had zero recollection of his past life. And even though Alfred did eventually inform him of what his past life consisted of, Bruce stopped him from revealing any more details right before he could tell him about Batman, indicating that he needed to leave his past behind so he could create his own journey. So at this point in the story, he still has no idea that he used to be Batman. And seeing how happy he was with Julie and how passionate he became about helping out at the rec center, Alfred eventually came to the decision that he was never gonna tell him about Batman, especially after seeing how obsessed with the mission Bruce was getting before his death, because apparently he was in the process of creating a machine that would use his DNA to create new versions of himself in the future to ensure that the world would always have a Batman. Now, Clark, on the other hand, wanted to tell Bruce about Batman because of how positively impactful he was to the world, but Alfred was opposed because he just wanted his son to be happy for once, threatening Clark with a kryptonite ring and expressing how terrible of an idea that'd be, because since Bruce lost his memory, every bit of his training and experience from the last 15 years was completely gone. But sadly, that's where this episode comes to an end. But if you want to see what happens next with Bruce and Commissioner Gordon, let me know in the comments down below.